For those of you that love talking about animals, from Sci News. New genus species of extinct hippo-like mammal identified from Unalaska fossils. A new genus and species of Desmostilian mammal that lived about 23 million years ago, early Miocene. So the Miocene epoch extended from about 23 million years ago to about 5 million years ago. Has been identified from fossils found on Unalaska, an island in the Fox Islands group of the Aleutian Islands in the U.S. state of Alaska. So, Unalaska is an island far off the southern coast of mainland Alaska. And now, from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guide Live Prehistoric News. Hit that subscribe button so we can dive right back into the prehistoric news of the day. So, the Desmostilian group of mammals is actually an herbivorous group of marine mammals that used to inhabit the Miocene epoch. So, let's take a look. Who do we have here? The newly discovered creature belongs to the order Desmostiliae, a group of extinct marine mammals whose closest living relatives are elephants, sea cows, and manatees. Desmostilian mammals were large bodied herbivores with enhanced adaptations for life in water and bulk aquatic feeding. They ended up going extinct somewhere between 3 and 5 million years ago, so during the Pliocene epoch. Let's take another look. They lived around the margins of the North Pacific Ocean from the Oligocene until the end of the Miocene, around 32.5 to 10.5 million years ago. I believe it was possible that certain species of Desmostilian might have inhabited the late Oligocene epoch, so possibly pushing back a few million years to like 26 to 28 million years ago. Unlike whales and seals, but like manatees, they were vegetarians. They rooted around coastlines, ripping up vegetation such as marine algae, seagrass, and other nearshore plants. Probably swam like polar bears, using their strong front limbs to power along, and walked on land a bit, lumbering like a sloth. Well, polar bears mainly use their um, forelegs for swimming, and then their hind limbs are mainly used for buoyancy. They're not really used for swimming too much. They're great divers too. I'm I'm not entirely sure about this species. I think it's a huge guess as to how these animals would have swam. And the other question is, would they have pushed themselves off of the sea floor like hippos do in lakes and rivers? So let's take a look at another species of animal, the Ilurodon. So this is a member of the canid family that lived around 14 million years ago during the Miocene over in different parts of central and western United States. This animal was somewhere around 80 pounds or pushing a little over 35 kilograms and was probably feeding on earlier species of antelope during the time or different species of two-toed ungulates. It is interesting because despite how unique this animal looks, its skull structure is very similar to that of a gray wolf. However, it belongs to a completely different family of canids that would eventually go extinct towards the end of the Miocene epoch, and the other branch of Canidae would have made it to the Holocene epoch. So, what we're in at the moment. So, let's head back to the article. So, the new Desmostilian genus and species was named Unalaska stylus tomidae by a team of paleontologists from Japan, Canada, and the United States. Sounds like everybody collaborated and decided to make it a very challenging name. Anyway, Unalaska means near the peninsula in the Aleut language of the indigenous people of the Aleutian Islands. Stylus is from the Latin for column and refers to the shape of cusps in the teeth. So this is definitely referring or showing that this animal had a very herbivorous diet and somewhat of like a browser in the ocean. Probably not going up to different species of shrubs and trees on land, but it's just stating that they have cusp-like teeth. So this is something that you see in different species of elephants, such as the mastodons. But at this point, they hadn't evolved yet. Um, and they were probably not feeding on any saltwater vegetation. Tomita honors distinguished Japanese vertebrate paleontologist Yukimitsu Tomita. A detailed description of Unalaska's tomidae appears in a special issue of the Historical Biology and International Journal of Paleobiology. The extinct mammal had a long snout and tusks It also possessed a unique tooth and jaw structure that indicates it was not only a vegetarian, but literally sucked vegetation from shorelines like a vacuum cleaner. It is interesting during the Miocene epoch, we have a wide variety of different species of herbivores, such as different species of the elephant family, such as the gomphotheres, the dinotheres over in Africa, as well as these desmostilian marine mammals that had both upper jaw tusks as well as bottom jaw tusks. So it's quite interesting. So taking a look at another animal, this is another representation of a Lurodon. I think in this instance, it's a great drawing, but I think his muzzle might be a little short. Now there are certain early canids that had a skull structure a bit like this. I think Epicyon somewhat has this type of a look, but it's still a bit more. There's still a bit more length to it. Now, this animal is rarely often mentioned. However, this is a member of the Oreodont lineage of mammals. So the Oreodonts,
He looks like a tapir.
this Oreodont was quite unique. He probably ranged in different types of marsh areas over in different parts of North America, possibly South America. That let's see, this was somewhere around 14 to 18 million years ago during the Miocene epoch. And this is Brachycharis, which would probably weigh somewhere around 160 pounds or a little over 80 kilograms. And was mostly feeding on different species of aquatic vegetation. It is very likely that it had a small trunk at the tip of its snout, like today's tapirs, despite being quite distantly related. It is also a member of the Oreodont family, which first evolved somewhere around 35 million years during the Oligocene epoch. Actually, it's the very beginning, almost actually, technically, that's the end of the Eocene epoch. And then they would mysteriously go extinct around 5 million years ago at the beginning of the Pliocene. It is interesting. The Miocene Pliocene boundary, we see a lot of mass extinctions with different species of mammals. And then definitely later into the Pleistocene. So back to the article. The new animal made us realize that desmostilians do not chew like any other animal. They clench their teeth, root up plants, and suck them in. To eat, the animals press their lower jaw with their teeth against the upper jaw and use the powerful muscles that attach there, along with the shape of the roof of their mouth, to suction feed vegetation from coastal bottoms. So it sounds like something like a manatee or a sea cow would do. Big muscles in the neck would help to power their tusks, and big muscles in the throat would help with suction. I really wonder how that would work. Um, yeah, I guess there's not too much to it, but let's see. He added, no other mammal eats like that. The enamel rings on the teeth show wear and polish. They don't reveal consistent patterns related to habitual chewing motions. Oh, here's another picture of the animal. Oh, no, this is another species. Neoparadoxia siciliana. The Unalaska fossils represent at least four individuals, and one is a baby. So this also definitely at a time when Alaska was much warmer and also had different types of ecosystems. But what is also interesting is that let's somewhere around 20 million years ago, you had different types of marine mammals feeding on marine vegetation, and you still have mammals eating that marine vegetation today, but mainly referring to kelp. But um, it is something that occasionally brown bears will feed on, but polar bears also love kelp. Now, this is a member of the rhinocerodid family. So this is, let's see, not Teleoceras, the Mechoceras. So this individual was quite a small species of the rhinocerodid family, probably reaching somewhere around 700 pounds or pushing a little over 350 kilograms. It had very small horns, even compared to its body size. But for some reason, it ended up having two small horns at the tip of its snout. So it was almost like the ceratopsian of its lineage. More, I guess, like a centrosaur to an extent. It looks like it had a bit of a mixed diet. So feeding on different species of grasses as well as feeding on different species of shrubs, maybe even younger trees. So let's head back to the article. It also existed somewhere around 18 million years ago. The baby tells us they had a breeding population up there. They must have stayed in sheltered areas to protect the young from surf and currents. In addition, the baby also tells us that this area along the Alaska coast was biologically productive enough to make it a good place for raising a family. The discovery of Onalaska tumati indicates the Desmostelian group was larger and more diverse than previously known. Yeah, lots more recently, more of these Desmostelian marine mammals have been discovered. And it is interesting. They had almost like a hippo-like structure, but it looks like this animal was somewhat meant for swimming, whereas hippos have very small feet compared to their body size and are technically not capable of swimming. They just push off of the riverbed bottom, and same thing goes for pygmy hippos. Now, for a long time, you had it where hippos specifically were living in southern Europe, different parts of Western Asia during the Ice Age. But this was long beforehand. This is also a very distant group from the hippos, despite being closely related to manatees and elephants. So let me know what your favorite species of hideous marine mammal is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.